Hello, how are you? Okay, are you there?
There we go. Sorry.
Hey, there you are. How are you
I
today?
was I'm I'm okay.
Yeah, not feeling too good, huh?
That I got an ear infection and then it spread to my throat.
Oh,
So
that's bad.
yeah, this kind of sucks. I've been trying to sleep it off
Yeah,
and that's pretty much it.
right. I think that's what you got to do. I mean,
Yeah.
just drink a lot and sleep a lot. And not like alcohol, but like.
Tequila helps though.
Does it?
Tequila does, yeah,
Is that
tequila
factual?
helps.
That's a fact?
Yes, yeah.
All
At
right.
least in my culture it does.
That's cool. Yeah, I believe it. Probably does help. Probably
They
does.
said something about because tequila is like a aloe plant sort of
Yeah.
type of,
Yeah.
and it if you just eat the aloe plant itself, it has some health benefits too, but the alcohol version of it kind of helps kill some of the bacteria too in the throat,
I think it's
supposedly.
agave. Is
Yeah,
that
there
is
you
that
go.
what it's made out of?
Yeah,
Agave. That's a desert plant though, right? So
it
it's
is.
not like it's not growing around here in Kansas City, I don't think. Like I don't
Oh,
like I couldn't tell you what it looks like, you know what I mean? Like I've never run across it. So
have
I
you ever seen an aloe plant?
I actually have one of those. I love that kind of stuff. Yeah.
It just imagine its big, humongous brother.
Oh, really? But it
Yeah,
looks the same?
a little bit. Yeah,
That's cool.
the same
Cool.
kind of structure. Yeah.
Yeah. I love aloe plants. So, yeah. So it's probably you're probably right. It probably is like medicine.
hmm
Yeah.
I mean, it used to help me, but now I have like this thing against tequila that it kind of makes me gross out because I've had too much of it. It's that
Yeah.
one alcohol that I just don't do anymore.
I used to be that way too with tequila. Um, but then eventually I got over it. um, one time I had too much Jose Cuervo Gold, and that
Um,
really made me sick for like I don't know. I couldn't even smell it. Like I was like, oof,
yeah.
ooh, ooh, like for a long time. But then eventually, like I discovered tequila, the silvers. There's different
Oh
levels on
yeah.
all these different brands. There's like, well, Jose Cuervo silver, and then there's like also silvers and a lot of other. I like them all. Uh, so yeah, funny but true. So be encouraged. You'll be drinking tequila again
Oh,
sometime.
thanks.
Well, what can I help you with? First of all, let me say congratulations,
Oh,
and
thank you.
that's quite a learning curve, isn't it? To come up through, um, the apprentice program and start from scratch and get to your first lease options deal. What do you think? It's pretty intense, huh?
It was one heck of a ride, definitely. I don't know if you remember doing the call with me because we had just finished a coaching um Zoom call, and then right afterwards I called the Mr. Seller,
Okay.
and he had originally told me no. He was like, no, I don't think this isn't the right fit, and then I was like, okay, well, if we fix that and we added that, no, my original question was, well, what would have made it better for you, or what was the issue that you had, or
Right.
something along the lines of
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
and
So
and
that's
then
what you went back to the seller and you asked really the kind of the heart of
the
one of the
problem.
19
Yeah.
questions, the 19 closing questions that I
Yeah.
recommend. Yeah, that's one of my what would it take for this to work? I do kind of remember that now. I do kind of
And
remember that.
then after I had asked that question, then you were still on the Zoom call with me, and you told me to say, if we put that in the contract, would
Right.
you be more willing to? Is it coming back to you?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it worked. I didn't realize that deal that we were working on was that deal.
This one. Yeah.
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 That's cool.
And I felt like this one was something I did pretty much on my own with like assistance with you.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I didn't have Victor tell me much. I didn't have you tell me much. I pretty
Right.
much recalled everything that I needed to recall right then and there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you did good. Well, obviously you did good because the seller's happy, the
Mm-hmm.
new tenant buyer's happy, and everybody's paid and
But
everything's
I mean,
good. I
that
mean,
one,
we're waiting on the bank to let go of they got a little hold on some of the money.
ah, so just a
So,
little portion of it, huh?
yeah, that's just par for the course. That's just how it works.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, what an incredible experience, I think.
It was a learning because
Yes,
who would have thought that at the last minute he would have said something about the utilities when it
yeah,
was already included? I mean, that was a
right.
big save. And then just the lady in general that Alex had to communicate with.
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty wild, all the things that happened during this particular deal.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was telling my wife, I was like, hey, these, I was like, these guys are learning like every lesson there is, like in one deal, it seems like. And well, we have another apprentice that did a deal last month. It was like he wrote the deal up with the homeowner, which is a big deal. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
like that's what you're talking about. You did like pretty much that just on your own, and like that's a big deal. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
good job on that. Um, but after this other guy wrote his deal last month, Alex went to work trying to find a buyer. Which, to be honest with you, that didn't even really happen on this deal because y'all had to y'all had to find the buyer and send it over to Alex, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So it was chaotic, man. This whole deal was chaotic. But the the one that the other guy wrote last month, it was on Facebook, no problems. People were inquiring. And then all of a sudden somebody just said, hey, I'm interested. I'm an investor. I want to just buy it. Terms eventually, but terms now, but eventually just cash. And I was like, hey, this is cool. He got the right down payment. We didn't even do a background check. We didn't do credit screens. We didn't do nothing on that guy. Like, it was just super clean. The seller liked him. We liked him. It was perfect. This deal was not that way though, was it?
No, not at
No,
all.
no. So that guy got lucky last month and you got the hard case. This was a tough one,
Yeah.
but you did really, really well. So
I mean,
congratulations on that.
I'd rather go through the tough stuff now to prepare me for it eventually later on because me personally, I don't learn if I don't struggle a bit,
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
yeah. Well, it's definitely under your hat now. I mean, you got it. Like you've been through the entire process of getting the leads, making the phone calls, calling the seller back that you almost closed but couldn't. He didn't like you. And
Mm-hmm.
you put the right words in your mouth, and then boom, he closes. You get the paperwork. That's another thing. Getting
Mm-hmm.
the paperwork. Working with a dispositions manager, working with me, working with the dispositions manager that's platform crippled. Like he can't get on Facebook. Stuff's happening that's not working right. Working through all that with that. Working through all the stuff with the homeowner and uh, changing the deal later.
Mm-hmm.
Working with the tenant buyer who was like the name got misspelled and it's just like it's just like everything. It's like and then it was like, okay, well now the rent amount is wrong because of the utilities, and it was like, oh my god. I was like,
Literally.
wow. And then we get to the
Literally.
last, we love the last. We work through all of that, miracle after miracle.
Honestly, yeah.
And then we give her the wrong bank wire information. And I was like, oh my God, this is just
Yep.
unbelievable. It's
Yep.
like every step of the way we encountered some difficulty, most of which was not due to our error. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Some was. All right. And that's learning curve, and that's Alex and you guys and communication. And, that's just life too. So, but, you know, congratulations. What a good experience to have, because I guarantee you the next one won't be quite so hairy. Now watch it be. Now watch it end up being. Okay, and be like just because I said that. But usually not quite so hairy. And I say hairy like a monster. This was a little bit of a monster. Now tell me too, this one wasn't like in town either. This one was the one up on around a lake, and there was like a bunch of houses around a little lake, and the lake was like an hour outside of a city. Is that right?
It was by Ann Arbor.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Ann Arbor.
a couple of miles away from Ann Arbor.
Oh, it was only a
And
couple miles. Okay.
I think
Okay.
so.
I wonder how big Ann Arbor is. Do you know?
I don't.
I'm gonna Google it right now. Ann Arbor, Michigan population is okay, 120,000. Okay, so this is outside Ann Arbor. All right. Well, cool. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know why I was thinking it was way further out, but nevertheless, good work. And that buyer came from Craigslist?
Uh, no, I believe Zillow.
No, no, no. The buyer. The
Oh,
buyer. The tenant
I don't
buyer.
know. Victor was the one
Oh, okay.
who got that one.
I think it was. I think he said Craigslist, but I could be wrong. And then I think the seller came from Zillow, right?
Right.
Cool. Seller from Zillow, buyer from Craigslist. Marriage made in heaven, right there. Boom. Okay. Well, cool. Well, remind me on the third because I owe you some more money,
Okay.
and then what are we gonna do next? What's the next? What's the plan next?
Oh, I was just trying to go over to see how it was gonna go on Monday when I have to speak about the deal, just to organize my thoughts, but we kind of already did that right now.
Yeah, we kind of did. Yeah,
So that was my main, because I'm
yeah,
not a great speaker and my timelines always get jumpy.
yeah.
Like when I explain a movie, I always tell the middle before the beginning for some odd reason.
That's all right. So if you're able to come on Monday, um, I'd like you to kind of just let me talk through it like we just did right there a little bit,
Yeah, yeah,
and then Alex, I might have him there if you don't mind, and
yeah.
this might be cool. And then have him be like, "Hey, this is some of the stuff that I was going through with it too," and I think that'll really add an extra dimension to it. And maybe I could have him pull up and show some of the agreements and the amendments and all that shit.
Okay.
Because how many
It
amendments
was
did
a
there end up
lot.
being?
Um, it was one for the name and one for the utilities and rent, change of term lease.
Yeah, yeah.
What else?
I, I don't know, like everything.
Honestly,
Right? So, like, okay. So I may have him, if you don't mind. kind of pop in there and share some of that too, because I think it'll be inspiring for everybody. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's and you can relate to this. People build this up in their mind as it's extremely impossibly difficult for. I don't know if I'll ever be able to do this. Well, it. I'm not saying it's not difficult. I'm just saying it's totally possible though, and um, what makes it hard is just the learning curve. Just not having it's just different, not having ever done it,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So now that
And
you've done it though, I think you'll have a really interesting perspective that people will be able to really understand and relate to, you know.
the patience it is to find the right buyer. That one was, I think that's the one that kind of made me a little bit more anxious in the actual signing the contract part.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and there's no real I mean, there's deals where we think we know, hey, this is a great deal and it works out, and then there's deals where we think it's a great deal and it doesn't really work out, you know, we don't find anybody and then there's deals where we're like, man, we haven't found anybody. We're not surprised though, because this one's a little bit iffy. And then somebody
Mm-hmm.
comes to the table and just grabs it up, and they got all kinds of money, and it's great. I don't. I wish I could make a lot of sense of it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I can, but a lot of times I can't. And so I think the goal is like to have five of these,
Mm-hmm.
really, five of these at a time, you know, and then that way saline pops out, you just put another one back in. And you always have like a
Mm-hmm.
little inventory of contracts for sale. That's what I'd like to see you develop. That way you're always making consistent money, you
Yeah.
know.
And then the guy for Hal, the one that was in your neighborhood, he also contacted me again. Uh, so if you want to go ahead and give him a call on Monday whenever you have time.
Yeah,
Um,
let's do that. That's cool.
uh,
Okay. Yeah, the Leewood guy.
yeah, it was weird. I didn't think. I mean, because we voided his the contract already. Because after a couple of days, we hear like ghost silence, we void them,
Yeah.
and then he reached out. So I don't know.
Did you let him know I was out of town?
I let him know. Yeah.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. Yeah, let's do that. Let's call in on let's try to do that during that same time. If I think that'd be cool. We could demo that in front of everybody too, if you don't mind. That'd be kind of
Okay.
cool.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
fine.
Um, Remind me of that too. Don't let me forget because I got a
I'll
lot.
remind you. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Quick question on my side. Um, I always picture you and Vic as a team, Team Stark, and he was saying that this one was like basically just you, and then you were kind of telling the story that way too, and I totally get that. But I'm kind of curious. Um, how does that work between you guys? Are you guys both working on it together or kind of like not, or he's working on a different kind of thing and then you're working on this with me, or like how does that work, just so I know, if you don't mind me asking.
So I'm usually the one who does already the calls where they say yes.
Okay.
Victor's the one who classes everyone out, does the text, does the follow-ups, make sure that they're warm, make sure that they actually want to speak to me. Because
Okay.
because I'm so receptive to other people's words, uh we kind of just fell into the system where he takes all the negative, the well, that's a stupid idea, or that's
Okay.
ridiculous. Why would I
Yeah,
do that? So he
I
kind
got
of
you.
filters that out for me so that I'm ready to make the
Got you.
calls for the yes people. But
I understand.
um
So he's kind of like
he's my filter.
he's like a lead manager, so he's
Yeah,
yeah, so he's getting the leads and then pre-qualifying the leads and then
yeah,
turning over to you the good stuff and then throwing away the bad stuff, or putting
right,
putting stuff in follow-up things that he thinks might be a, you know, instead of wasting your time as a caller.
right. And
That's
I'll do
great.
the calls and I'll do the follow-ups and I'll do the and sort them out if they need to be called again for a voicemail or follow-up or whatever category they kind of fall into. And Victor's also there kind of guiding me.
Yeah.
Because he has a hand signal to me that says tie them up. He also has a
Okay.
a signal of you're taking too long on the call to qualify them.
Yeah. Okay.
So those kind of help me out to to move the conversation along. And it cues me to ask the questions that I need to ask instead of dilly-dallying.
Okay. Cool. I see what you're saying. I like it.
Yeah.
One other question. So when you guys decided to pursue this entire educational adventure, and eventually, oh, I'm just assuming eventually, like you want to have a viable business of your own that's
All right.
functioning outside of the education. Um, so was that both of you together that wanted that, or which one was like? Was it one of you and the other one was like, cool, I'll do it with you, or like how did that work? If you don't mind me asking.
Well, Victor was with you before I was. I've only been
Oh,
with him
okay,
for 2 months, remember? I don't
okay.
know if you have.
I I don't remember really.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
Victor was with you.
Okay.
But he kind of was hesitant the first couple of weeks with you. You kept doing Zoom calls or rescheduling or something like that. But
Okay.
once he got on it, he got on.
Gotcha.
And then once I saw him do it, um,
I see.
we kind
Okay.
of like just tag teamed on that.
Okay.
Cause
Cool.
yeah.
Good. Okay. Cool. Cool. I like it. Um. So how can I help you moving forward? Anything that you uh, would like to see or need to do, or what do you think would be next steps for you and Vic and Team Stark?
I mean, we I know what I need to do. It's just executing what I need to do. It's the doing and not talking about it um that needs to happen. And I'm more than capable of doing it. It's just that I need to find my own rhythm as well,
Yeah,
is what I think I need to do. Because
yeah,
I received, like I said a couple of times, I received a lot of um advice from everyone, and I love it, but I kind of need to tweak it to fit me a
right,
little bit more.
right. I
Because
agree with that.
I think that the um I don't talk like anyone else, and I shouldn't talk like anyone else. I should just be talk like I
Yeah, I agree.
should talk,
Yeah.
but still use the strategies that I've learned along the way.
Right, right, right. I totally agree with you. You have to be you, and people will like you, and I think you are finding your rhythm. I totally
Mm-hmm.
believe that. And it does take some time, like you ever see that
Mm-hmm.
movie Tommy Boy?
Mm-mm. No.
Well, that's your homework. You have to go watch Tommy Boy with Chris Farley.
Is it
Very,
on
very
Netflix?
funny movie. But they talk about that in that movie about how it takes a little time for a salesperson or a phone caller or a real estate investor. It's all the same.
Mm-hmm.
When when you get started, it takes a little time to find your rhythm. So, it's been a little time and you've gotten a deal. So now I think what you ought to do is set the cruise control on
Mm-hmm.
55 or 65 and then just go on because you've got the skill sets now. Okay, so you know how this works. You know more than most people, even people who've been doing this for a little while. I'm serious. And I know that because I was with you along the way when all these problems happened in this deal.
Mm-hmm.
So like you've got this is like this deal was like you've done 10 deals already, really, like, or maybe 50. Like, I don't know, like a lot. Like this deal was problematic and you worked through everything. So you got a heck of a skill set, heck of an education, way more than like you're head and shoulders above 98% of everybody. I'd say so. You know, even in my students, even okay, and the club, just frankly, okay. Um, you've learned a lot of lessons. Okay, I'll give you an example. I've got students that are in the club that do deals, but if I were to say, hey, I need you to, you're going to have to draw up this amendment, and then if I come back to them a second time and say, okay, we're going to have to do another amendment. Okay, now they're getting confused. They're like, what? Can we have two amendments? Okay, like they don't have that depth of knowledge yet because they haven't had any of
Mm-hmm.
these experiences yet, but you got a whole bunch of experiences compacted into one deal, so like
Obviously, that one and the Cold Spring one, that one
yes,
was a
that
learning
one
curve
too, and
too.
that one didn't close, but we got real close.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that one you learned a lot on that one too, and so yeah, I think right now you just need to really feel good about yourself, feel confident in your abilities, and then just set the cruise control on the lead gen and the phone calling. Don't worry about can I do it? Will it work again? Any of that silly stuff that pops in our heads, and just believe and go. And I think that's really probably all that needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think too, maybe this helps me, and I'm just going to throw that out there. It helps me to teach other people. It just
Mm-hmm.
does. Okay. So, I don't know. I don't have any ideas in mind, but I'm open to ideas. But if like for me, for example, like I have to continue to do personal deals. All right. So like I'm pretty well off. God's blessed me. But at the same time, like I'm also coaching people. I need to be continuing to do deals personally, stay relevant, stay. Plus, I need the money. I like the money. I mean, like I want the money. All right. So, like I've done a deal this month. I did a deal last month. I did a deal a month before. The month before that, I don't think I did a deal because I just took the month off, and then I think that's about the whole year so far. So I've done a handful of deals personally myself this year, and it's because like before I would do a deal, maybe I'd make the whole 10 grand to myself or 7,500 or whatever, and that might be enough for me to live off of for a whole month and a half. So I don't do diddly squat for like the next 3 weeks. Like I don't do nothing, man. Well, when you get on the teaching kind of thing, like where like you're helping other people a little bit, like
Uh-huh.
it kind of makes you feel like you need to be like a little bit more accountable, to the at least it does for me. So like now I'm real regular because I feel like I have to be, and that's been good for me. Now I'm not saying that that's the pathway for you, but I'm just saying, be open to growth already because it can really yield great benefits for you, as
Mm-hmm.
well. So I don't know what that means or how we would actually play that out, or even if you'd want to, but consider somehow helping somebody else in some way because that will strengthen you in your personal game. You know,
Okay,
you know,
that makes sense. Yeah.
yeah. Good. I'm glad it made sense because it didn't feel like it was.
No, it did. It's because the when I used to work at the restaurant and
Yeah, good point.
I had to teach other people, it made
Hmm.
me more mindful, more responsible to things
Yeah,
because monkey see, monkey do.
right.
If I slacked off, the younger kids or the younger employees would slack off too.
Yeah,
And then it would be put on me saying, well, why are you slacking off? You know what to do.
right,
Sort
right.
of situation. Yeah, so I get it.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And relating it to the restaurant business, that's exactly That's exactly right. I mean, I've been in the restaurant business, and it was that way too. Yeah, yeah. And you know, um, what like I said, what you have, you just need to value it because it's pretty precious. I mean, after having gone through this experience and getting the deal cashed out, everything, you realize that there's a lot of people that quit this business before they get
Oh
there,
yeah.
and that's why. Yeah,
Yeah, and I can see why. I mean,
yeah,
Victor was, I may have personally spoken to the seller and um written all the amendments and
yeah,
done some of the paperwork, but it was Victor who was the rock for me because if not, I would have given up.
yeah,
I don't have the I didn't have the drive that Victor has.
yeah. Well, now you do.
Now I do.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Vic. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Good, good job, dude. That's a way to be a support, right there. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Look, we're
mean,
not gonna quit. We're not gonna give up. And you got some money out of it, so that's good.
yeah. And even if we didn't, I mean, this whole experience is just well worth it and it makes the winning so much better.
Yeah. So I've already promised you that the next one won't be so hard, and that if you had five going, that'd be a really good goal to have.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had five going, and they're not going to be as hard as that one. Oh, and by the way, Alex is going to get better. See, you got Alex a heck of an education in this deal too. So your dispositions manager, he's a hell of a lot smarter than anybody now too, for the most part, because he he'd never been through all that either. So
Poor dude.
yeah, so everybody got smarter in this deal. But so if you had five going though, and they weren't as hard, just imagine cashing out a couple of these every month.
Mm-hmm.
You know, two, maybe in some months three, maybe some months only one, but you're averaging two deals a month every month. That adds up pretty good,
Mm-hmm.
especially if especially if you're doing it on your own. Really, even
Mm-hmm.
that's really life changing, super life changing. So um, that's what I did. Okay, I don't like it though. I don't like doing it all alone. All right, that's what I mean. So that's this whole. I get accountability out of this, out of being around you guys, and I also get like I stay sharp, and also it helps me develop as a person and as a
Mm-hmm.
I think as a leader and as a coach and as a as stuff like that too. And those are all things that are in my heart to want to help people as. And so yeah, it's just been good. I really appreciate you and Vic. Thanks for being a part of this whole thing, and glad it's working out for you. Okay, yeah,
Thank
and
you. Thank you. We appreciate you too, Justin.
uh, thank you for saying that. So before I go for today, what can I do to help you? Anything else?
No, I mean, no. I'm
Okay.
kind of out of it right now because of the cold medicine too. So,
Cool. I love that. Sometimes I just get Robitussin just for fun. No, I'm
oh
just
no,
kidding. I'm
just
kidding. That's not true. Not really.
we'll keep
No.
it between us, Justin.
All right. Hey, get some rest and feel better, and I'll
I
talk to you
will.
later. Okay. We'll
All right.
call this guy on Monday, and we'll get us another one over here in Leewood.
Okay. Will do, Justin.
All right.